Albeit a month late, we are ready here at the Stafford Motor Speedway for the 50th running of the NAPA Fall Final, and Mother Nature has graced us with some great weather, something we haven't been able to say much this season.
And we deserve it because we've been through a lot this season because of Mother Nature. And I know a lot of people were worried about how cold it might be because it's the end of October. It's Halloween weekend. Well, guess what? The weather is just fine. Temperatures in the 70s, sunny skies. What more could you ask for? It's the best weather you can have for an event that is stacked with amazing modifieds.
A pit area full of them, over 4 different divisions here on Saturday. The Monaco Modified Tri-Track Series will headline that with 80 laps, over 40 entries, and a lot of big names, including the defending winner.
Well, you got Ron Sook, as you mentioned. He not only won the Fall Final last year, he won the Spring Sizzler this year. His last 2 Stafford starts, he's won over $50,000. That's a lot of money. So we'll see as he comes back here for the Fall Final if he can repeat and get his 3rd win in the last 3 starts. But there's a lot of good drivers in that field. We talked in the production trailer about underdogs. It's hard to pick an underdog because a lot of drivers, you can say, have a reason to be a favorite to win. Woody Pitkat is the hottest driver in the Stafford Open Modifieds. He's won the last 2 events. Matt Hirschman won the Sizzler last year, the 50th Napa Spring Sizzler. Now we're at the 50th Fall Final. Maybe he can be a contender. Ronnie Williams, 3-time Open Modified winner. Then you got guys who are looking for their first. Teddy Hodgson, he's been a consistent top 5 contender anytime these cars come to Stafford. Matt Swanson, we haven't talked a lot about him, but he's in the Gary Casella 25. He only has 1 victory at Stafford in an SK Light many years ago. He has a chance to win the Fall Final. We could go on and on. George Bassett Jr., he's been fast in the Open Modifieds. Eric Goodale, former winner this year at Stafford. Glenn Reen. We can go for minutes upon minutes, but there's just so many drivers that have a shot. 40-plus cars, over half have a chance to win it.
Stephen Kopsick coming off a runner-up place finish last week in their 5th race of the year for the Monaco Modified Tri-Track Series, looking to pick up 1 more spot here this weekend at a track that he knows really well. Just making the field could be tough for some of these teams.
And that's one thing we got to keep an eye on because there's so many cars, only so many can make it. Will there be that surprise, that 1 or 2 surprise drivers that somehow don't make it for one reason or another? You can't guarantee anything. Like, you could be really good at Stafford, but if something goes wrong in the heat and then something goes wrong in the Consi, that could be it. Your night could be over before you even hit the 80-lap feature. So you got to make it through your heat, especially if you're Woody Pitkat and Glenn Reen, because if they make it through their heat, if they transfer in, they'll have the front row for the Fall Final.
Based on where they finished 1st and 2nd in the last Open Modified race here at the Stafford Motor Speedway in August. So do you have a sleeper pick?
It's so hard to pick a sleeper, but I think Jake Johnson's a sleeper because, yeah, he's won in a modified at Star this year in the Monaco Modified Tri-Track Series, but he hasn't had a ton of big track experience. He finished 2nd in last year's Fall Final. He kind of snuck up there to get that 2nd spot. Ever since he moved to the modifieds, he's adapted quick. I've been very impressed with how he's quickly learned how to drive these cars after racing fendered cars for so long. So I'd say keep an eye on that 15 of Jake Johnson. He raced the Spring Sizzler this year, but he blew up. So we never had a chance to see what he had back in April, or I should say May, because it was rain delayed, of course. So we'll see what he has this weekend, but I think he's one you got to keep an eye on. He might have a chance to do 1 spot better than last year's running.
I like George Bassett Jr. He hasn't had a whole lot of experience behind the wheel of an Open Modified, but the laps that he does have here especially, he has showed well.
And you mentioned Stephen Kopsick.
Yep.
He led the first 30, 40 laps of one of the Open 80 races this year before something broke in the car. When he's driving that Wannick 1 car, he's a contender. He's very fast. He'll be one to watch. Anthony Bello, the 179, he has a podium this year. He had a heck of a run the last Open 80, and then his tire fell off after the checkered flag. But he was coming through the field during that race, started mid-pack, got up to the top 5, and then that loose wheel at the end pretty much prevented a possible podium top 5 run. He still had a solid top 10. Again, there's just so many drivers that we can come up with, and it's going to be fun. You got to be perfect for these 80 laps. It's not just about execution on the track, it's execution on pit road. Strategy is going to be key. You get 2 change tires, you're going to change right sides, you're going to change rears, or you're going to change right sides and swap the left sides. Depends on when the cautions fall. If they fall, they're not a guarantee. So there's just so many different aspects, so many different factors to consider. You got to be perfect to have a chance at winning the Fall Final.
The SK Modifieds will also join the program for their final points-paying event of the season. And while the champion is already crowned in Todd Owen, we know Corey DiMatteo is going to have that second spot solidified. From third on back, it's tight in the championship standings.
Well, you talk about third. Rocco and Jarvis are separated by about 14 points. Jimmy Blewett's fifth, but he's been out for a while. You got Rafrano and Flynn not too far behind him, and they're very close to each other. And then you got the battle for 8th, 9th, 10th between Flannery, Corner, and Arute. Then you got Christopher, who's in 11th, but he has a chance to get into the top 10, and he's our most recent points winner. So a lot on the line in the points. Get a little extra money because of it, thanks to the point fund. So the higher you're up in the standings, the more money you get at season's end, and everybody loves to win more money. That's why we've talked about Ron Silk winning $50,000 the last 2 starts. But it's also a bit of pride as well. You know, finishing top 5 in the SKs is no joke. It's tough with the competition they've had every single year. We've talked about all the different winners we've had. We've had 10 this season alone in what has basically been an abbreviated schedule because of Mother Nature. So we'll see what these guys have. 40 laps. We'll see some new contenders from the SK Lights coming into the SKs as well. That brings a new aspect to it. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very fun.
Including Meg Fuller. Will be interesting to see what she can do after testing here about 6 or so weeks ago before the previous running of this event, the scheduled running of it. She looked good out there by herself. We'll see what she can do with a full field of cars.
She felt pretty good about it, so we'll see how she does in traffic. It's so tough in traffic with that many cars, but even Tyler Berry says, like, the intensity in the SK Lights helps transfer your driving into the SK Modifieds because both divisions, I mean, those first few laps in traffic, it's crazy.
Megan Fuller will not be in the SK Light feature, and there's good reason for that, Bonds. In fact, a lot of familiar names won't be in that event because they have won this year, and the SK Light Invitational on Saturday is for strictly non-winners.
So we'll see who will enter and who has a shot to win because, again, we've seen 30-plus SK Lights every given week, and drivers will say at least 10 to 15 have a chance to win. And there's several drivers who've had a chance to win that haven't done so this year. They have a shot this weekend. A couple drivers off the top of my head. Jason Chapman, he's been fast all year. He's stepped it up this season. Came so close to a win a couple weeks ago, or I should say a couple months ago. It feels like it wasn't that long ago, but the rain messed it up. A couple months ago, he was battling for the win with George Bissett Jr. in the closing laps. Just came up short. He's a contender. Sammy Anderson has stepped it up in the last couple months of the season. Cassandra Cole's had her best year yet. There's so many different names that we got to keep an eye on. We might see a brand new winner. I remember Tyler Chapman back in 2020 on Tri-Track Day. He got his first SK Light win in a non-points race. We might see that again this weekend.
You mentioned Cassandra Cole will be racing against her brother for the first time.
That's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I'm sure there's going to be some inter-family competition, too.
Her brother, Karsten Cole, here every week as a crew member for Cassandra, but will be behind the wheel come Saturday afternoon. One of the, I'm sure, many new faces that we're going to see on the racetrack. And, of course, the Vintage All-Star Modifieds will be on hand once again here to be a part of a very full day of open-wheel racing here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. Hope you can join us. It's going to be a beautiful day weather-wise. We have a pit party in the pits.
Yes.
Do you have your costume?
Costume?
Halloween.
Oh, geez. No, I don't have my Frozone costume ready because I know people have wanted me to have that. Not happening. How about you?
I do. I have one prepared and hope to be wearing it come Saturday afternoon. My biggest fear is it's going to be too warm. We'll see.
My biggest fear is you wearing it.
Either way, it's going to be fun and a great day to wrap up the season here at the Stafford Motor Speedway with 4 divisions of modifieds under bright sunny skies, part of the 50th NAPA Fall Final. We hope to see you here in the grandstands, but if you can't be here, you can always tune us in on Flow Racing. All of the action gets underway at 12:30 Eastern Time.